Anna, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Give me a second.
Which will use the skills, perspectives, and information they gain at school to enhance their own lives and to advance social, economic, and environmental sustainability.
Thank you. Agenda review. Is there any changes to the agenda?
I move we accept the agenda as printed.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Roll call. Jim in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Review and approval of meeting minutes from April 10 and April 24. Do I hear any changes? Did we get? He sends them.
And then I post
maybe
them
you-
on the website. So there should be
Possibly
draft
get them.
minutes for April on the website. I don't know that I ever received May, did I?
No, it's not.
No.
We're not.
Okay.
But we're
So
not even
there's April.
approving May.
Yeah.
So,
So, would it be appropriate for me to move to table that? Because I haven't seen the minutes, so I'm not gonna vote.
right.
Okay.
Well, okay, let me think about this next week, because I wasn't a member at those last meetings anyway, so it's not appropriate for me to vote.
Yeah, I think,
So
Are we
you
gonna,
guys
if we
wanna
vote,
just-
are we gonna have a? Two is a majority at this moment?
I think you guys can approve the minutes.
Okay. Um,
Okay, I do.
okay, I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 10 and April 24.
Second.
All
And
in
then you'd
favor-
just be abstained.
Yeah.
Yep.
All of,
I think that's fine.
Jim
Yeah, aye.
Abstain.
and I approve. Okay, public comment. You have anybody?
You don't.
No public comment. Okay, business manager report. That's Justine.
Oh, here it is. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now and see you.
Okay, great. All right, let me share my screen.
So you have to do what you need to do.
All right,
Get a
Do you
paper.
need
so we
those
have,
It's like you've been on vacation.
yes. All right. So good evening, everybody. The reports we have this evening are for July 1st through May 31st, starting with the revenue report. These are the current revenues that the school has received as of May 31st. There was an RFR deadline for all expenses up until May 31st to be submitted by June 6th. And so we met that deadline and submitted all RFRs on that date. The next RFRs that are due for the month of June, so any expenses that happened in June for the federal and state funds, those RFRs are due on July 7th.
Justin, can I ask you, we have some new members. Can you define all the acronyms? So can you define RFR?
Yes, so RFR is a request for reimbursement. So what that means is we have to spend the money first and show them proof of that. And then the PED reimburses the school for those federal and state funds. And the way that we get those federal and state funds is applications are completed in the spring for the next fiscal year. So once the application is approved, then we can budget those funds for the next year to spend.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. I think the one RFR that I have not submitted yet to kind of close out the fiscal year is the lease reimbursement. We were waiting to pay the June lease, which I think we paid today. So once that check gets cashed, then I can submit that lease reimbursement.
Awesome.
Going on to the expenditure report, as of May 31st, looking at the operational fund, we're looking at the available column. We have about 114,000 available. to use between now and June, which we do not really want to use because we want to set some money aside for some cash carryover going into the next year. We do have still a negative in the fund for the food services. I'm still just kind of waiting until the last minute to make sure we get all food service revenues that we expect before I move any expenses out. So I'm gonna probably wait until the last week in June to kind of see what revenues we've received and move probably some expenses from the food services to operational because it will not cover all of it. Going down with other funds, we have a few negative funds. Anything that is not covered. So like for example, Title I, we have negative $101. I will move $101 back to operational since that fund does not cover all of the salary and benefits paid out of here. And same for Title II. So it's not much negative.
Justine, I have a question.
Mhm.
Is that all that's gonna come out of that 114, right? All those little adjustments?
Yes. And maybe, and with that 114 is, I didn't run a report today, but we will be closing all purchase orders. So any open POs that we have not paid on will be closed. And so that 114 may go up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But other than that, I think all other funds are looking really good.
Can you go back up just for a second? I just saw in career and technical pilot program, $2,000 in the negative. We got that 11,000 redisbursement from CTE. Can we use it for that?
If we did a bar, and I'm wondering if I'm just gonna kind of look through these. Was that for next fiscal year or for this fiscal year?
This fiscal year, they had given us originally around 85,000, and then we applied for it. They had extra money to give back out, so we applied for it and we got 11,000, and we've been spending it on like dual credit textbooks and things like that. But I didn't realize that there was a negative fund balance for CTE. You and I can talk about it, but I just want to make a note about it.
Okay, I will make a note to look for that award. If that in fact is true, then I will do a bar. The ball bars are due on Friday, so I can do a bar and push it through, and
Okay.
then it could be, and I'll send it to Jackie, and it could be presented at the July meeting just for the meeting minutes to have that doc ID in there.
Thank you, Justin.
That might be another three-letter acronym we need to mention, the budget.
Bar. So
Yeah.
bar is a budget adjustment request. So anytime we want to adjust the budget, we'll need to request it from PED and request it from you all. You guys are the first approvers. All right, going down to the PO encumbrance by fund. So these are the current open POs, and it has it listed by fund. So all of the POs coming out from Fund 11,000, this is your operational fund. And this is kind of what's left on the purchase order. So there is a lot on there. And now again, that 114 could go up once those are closed
It
out.
will go up significantly, Justine. That's my hope.
Yeah, and then so next year, so say there was an invoice maybe from the UPS store that was for something purchased in June. We didn't get it until July and we pay on it in July. It will come out of that cash carryover, but not until the audit is completed that we're able to budget that increase if there's an increase in the carryover. So you'll have some of those, invoices that are lagging.
Thank you, Justin.
So again, this is really just an information only report, just showing what open POs we have, and PO means purchase order by fund. So if you have any questions on these, let me know.
Is this document? This is a.
It was sent to the board and I apologize. So I have created you board emails, but I haven't shared it. I'm gonna do it after the meeting.
Okay.
And I can also forward you this so you can see it. I
Okay.
can do that.
Just so that I know
Yeah.
where to find it for next time.
It
so
will
that-
come to your board email
Okay, and I'll get that from you.
from the business manager. Justine is currently our business manager, but her contract ends June 30th.
Okay,
And Jackie Riley, who's here on
Right.
site, will take over as business manager on July 1. So she'll be sending.
she'll set me up with the email.
I have the email.
You said that was my question.
Sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
hear.
Gotcha, no, that's fine.
All right, going on to the next report, this is your bank account register activity. So this is just for the month of May, showing your revenues and expenses during the month of May. So you can see all the revenues that have come in and then all of the expenses going out. Direct deposit, that means that's the payroll going out. And your SCG, this is the state equalization guarantee. This is amount that comes on the 10th of every month or around the 10th. And this makes up your operational fund. So I see USDA came in for March. So it looks like we're waiting on April and May for the food services. So we had about 326,000 in revenues and 331,000 in expenses. Going on to the bank reconciliation as of May 31st, we had an ending balance in the bank of 815,000. There were still some outstanding checks of 16,000. So what that means is we've mailed out those checks and vendors have not cashed them yet in the amount of 16,000. So there's probably a multiple checks. So the true balance is 798,000, which balances to the balance sheet. And so what the balance sheet shows you is it reconciles to the bank reconciliation and it shows you total cash by fund. So really, anytime you see negative cash, it's probably an RFR. So we're waiting on a reimbursement from PED. Your fund 23,000, all of these are your student activity funds. And so those are, for fundraising, anything like that. So those are the cash balances for those activity funds. And then you can see at the end, the 798 reconciles to the bank.
I need to come in, Justine, on the how do you reconcile the cash carryover with the bank balance? How does that work?
Well, it's cash and budget are two different things. So,
So
yeah, the cash that's in operational, you have about 550,000. There's still a lot that still has to come out of the actual bank. The way the cash carryover works is you take the total cash in operational. So we're really looking at the expenditure report. And we subtract any liability, so any payrolls or payroll liabilities that were paid. And then what's left of that is what your true cash carryover is.
So what's that 798?
This is all funds. This is all of these funds that are in your bank account. So this includes your operational along with student activities, any Idea B, Title I. So that 798 is all the funds that the school has. And so here's that 7.
Is capital outlay included in that?
Yes.
So that's
a big chunk.
Over 5.
Mhm.
I didn't. All right, why do we have so much money? Was your
Why
first
does it look
question.
like we have?
Why does it look like
We
we
don't
have
have that?
Don't.
Mhm. Are there any other questions on the reports?
Well, thank you.
I don't think so.
All right, I'll go on to the bars. So we have bar number 37. This is an increase bar for Title II in the amount of $8,075. And we're using this money to budget into coordinator position and their benefits. So what this extra money is, it's carryover from last fiscal year. And so we can only do these type of carryovers for these federal awards when we receive a memo from PED. And they're usually very slow because they give us this memo and they want us to spend it in a month. It'd be kind of nice if they gave it to us in the middle of the year.
So we didn't receive that memo then,
Until just
waiting
recently.
around too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to request it.
Bar,
And you can't.
no, they just send it.
You just have to wait and hope the memo comes.
Yes.
But that's effective, yeah. I can say
Um,
these things, I think. Yeah, filter hasn't changed.
Any questions on this bar?
I can present them all first and then you guys can approve them all together if you'd like.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's see that.
see if there's questions on this one,
Oh, okay.
but I see none, so go ahead, Justine.
Okay, bar number 38, this is an increase bar for Title I in the amount of $28,956. And we're using this money to budget for a teacher, part of a teacher's position and their benefits. And again, this is the final award and carryover from last year. And then the last bar is bar number 39. This is a transfer bar for the operational fund, just to clean up negative line items. So what the transfer means, transfer and maintenance are kind of the same. With any bar, you can only move budget within the fund. I can't move budget from operational to Title I. So that's the first rule. Second, a transfer bar means is I'm moving from a different function within the same fund. So you can see here that I'm moving out 28,000 from function 2,500 and I'm putting that 28,000 in function 3,100. And then a maintenance bar is when you're moving budget between the same function.
So just to clarify, we don't yet know how much we're going to be reimbursed from PED, but we could have as we're over budget more than about 29,000. So so it's gonna be 29,000 minus whatever we recover, we're gonna have to transfer that.
And who
Yeah,
cover it if we will. With services, we run hugely over budget. There is just a chunk of money that comes out of operational to cover food costs, and that will always be the case. We are behind on getting our reimbursements from USDA, who reimburses us, and the state reimburses another portion. Those aren't all in, so eventually that money will come in and it'll get cleaned up next year.
But it won't come.
It won't cover it up.
And not to get off in the weeds, is this something we as a GC need to look at deeply, or is this like a fact of life?
I think it's a fact of life. I contacted schools to see if they could do our food service for us, which would be about half the cost, and it's gross. And they can't do it anyway. And so there's no one else who does feeding massive numbers of people than Montessori, and we're lucky to have them. And so we have to pay them what they charge us.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
way in favor of
Yes.
Montessori. I'm just thinking, is there another package we could get?
Right.
Is there another way to deal with it?
The only other thing I could come up with was both Cobra and Silver, and both of them said we don't have the capacity to add 200 meals a day.
Or the state can reimburse us at a reasonable rate. There's always that.
Saw something saying the state will be reimbursing less next year, and our cost just went up for lunch for next year. Sorry, Justine, do you have other stuff?
no, that's it.
Are there questions for Justine?
So just one, because I'm new, so the Title II, adjustment came from a memo or was instigated by a memo from PD. Was it the same with the Title I? Is that the same?
Correct, same thing. So Title I, Title II, and Idea B, those memos usually come in May. And sometimes in June, and then we have to budget the money and they want us to spend it by June 30th. So it's not, we can't request the memo early. They're just very slow, and they're, as in PED, they're just slow at kind of calculating that carryover from the last year. So
But both of them are, it's the same for both the same situation.
mhm.
Well, Justine, I'm gonna contact you about the CTE money, but so we can look at that, but I just wanna say thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure working with you this year.
Yes, you as well.
Thank you, Justine.
Yes, thanks a
Yes,
lot.
you're welcome.
A tricky era.
Yeah, that
We
was-
appreciate.
we appreciate all of your help. And thanks
Of
for helping
course.
Jackie. She said that she's been learning a lot lately.
Good, I'm glad. Well, I'm always here if you have questions, so feel free to reach out. It was nice working with you all as well.
Thanks, Justine.
Take care.
Good night. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
So do we have to approve these then?
No, yeah, at the end.
We, at the
Oh,
end,
yeah.
they're on the agenda as action items.
Oh, at the end. Oh, okay.
Okay, there's no student present and no staff.
No stuff.
Just to clarify, when we asked for public input, I remember one week where we didn't know that there was somebody who was present at the meeting, but they didn't show up somehow in the Zoom roster. Should we
And
sort of
as
skipped over that?
look at the participant list,
Okay.
because that happened and you can see we are the only participants, but I
Okay.
suggest Will does the same.
I remember.
Yeah, you were here.
Yeah, okay.
thought.
Just
Oh.
double check and sorry to interrupt.
No, that's- Okay, strategic plan goal manager reports.
Let me go ahead and share.
And no staff report.
No stuff. All right, so the strategic plan this month only has one goal manager, goal and objective. The goal is to improve teaching and learning systems and practices to support the growth of each student. The objective is to complete a written staff mentoring plan for teachers with requirements for mentors and mentees. And the task is to publish that plan in the faculty handbook. The mentor mentee section has been added to the staff handbook, but we have not finalized the staff handbook for next year. That will be Will and Ally finishing that up, but the language around mentoring and mentees is in there. So the idea is just that new teachers have a seasoned veteran teacher, generally a level 3 teacher, but I would caution people that that isn't as important as PED thinks it is. Level 2 teachers can be excellent. But that a level 2 or 3 teacher is mentoring and meeting with level 1 teachers, and facilitating growth. So Ally has been running that piece of the strategic plan, and she said everything's done except we haven't published the handbook yet, and that we finalized it and put it on in the drive, new final version, and shared it with staff saying here's an updated. Any questions about the goal for them?
Staff handbook. Needs to be approved.
No, I don't think so. Have we ever approved the staff handbook by the GC?
The student handbooks we have,
Right, student handbooks
Yeah.
we have, but staff handbook?
I don't think.
I'd be happy, Will can easily, once we create a shared drive, put the updated staff handbook in there. You guys can look over it. You can add it to an agenda if you have problems with it, or if you want to talk about it, but I don't personally believe staff handbook has to be approved by GC.
And I don't
You could
think it's
also look
online.
into it and,
Yeah, and I don't think it's, I don't think you put it online, the staff.
No,
handbook either.
it would, it just goes in the shared staff drive and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just thinking broadly about it, is there any value in putting staff handbook online for accessibility? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot that's never touched that's online.
It's true. I mean,
Is
I
it
wish
transparency
people
for
would
parents?
read it more. So
Mhm.
how we make it more available or more accessible. I don't know the answer to that. There is a shared drive for staff with important documents. We have all of our policy manuals in there. Do people look at them?
Unless there's an emergency.
No. And onboarding new staff is definitely an area for growth, but we have new staff, none except for you, Will and Jackie. So, you know, thinking
Yeah.
about it for the future, on having an onboarding procedure that makes sure that they've read it and they sign something saying they've read it would be great. I've certainly had staff who are like, what? We have a staff handbook?
Michelle's not currently required to sign.
Right. That process did not exist.
Well, it did,
Oh,
but
okay.
it never probably transferred to. And Jim, like, he was a mentor teacher, and I always had a mentor teacher for all the incoming teachers. And we documented, and they got paid a stipend, and so that was already in place. And then also the manual is there, but it's so old. I mean, it was something I think they stole from Silver Consolidated Schools when they were a
That's
district.
been all redone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know,
okay.
cause it was that old. And so it was like almost obsolete, but
Okay, any other questions on the strategic plan report? Great, there is an
One
updated,
question, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Would it be helpful to have a preview of like what's coming up next? Do you know what the next one is? Just so you.
So it's in your head. That's a great idea. I don't have it in front of me, and I am about to publish the most recent version of the strategic plan online. So I will write a note to myself and just send you like, hey, here's what's coming up. I'll send it out to the GC.
So there's also a document, I was just gonna say, there's probably the document somewhere that I don't yet have
Yeah.
access, right? But so just to know what that timeline is, so
Yeah.
then, cause I'm better at asking questions if I have a minute.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense.
So I also, in this drive, we need to put all the board documents that are necessary. I don't know if we need them online.
Tell Will, I'm gonna set up the drive for him. He's gonna put all this stuff in.
Oh, yeah.
Have you noticed I have changed him on the website? I have put his name on the door.
It's fine, I mean, it does, it used to happen, it's like way too funky to streamline it all in a single drive. Very helpful for sure, and that's on my list. We'll keep checking on that.
Please let me know, cause this is what I do, like I get
Have fun with it.
into groups, well, I just am saying, like, I'm just doing this in another group right now, I'm like. Do we have a Google Calendar yet? A group, and we'll do it, you know what I mean, like, it's kind of just one of the things that I bring. Does it get?
What I'm referring to is book for, does that need to be?
So it is on, the governing council bylaws are published on the
Right,
website.
but the complete, all the paper, attended paper. Like the strategic plan.
Strategic plan is also. So, I mean, to me, it's easier to go to the website, but if you want them in the drive, you can tell Will, he can put it in the drive.
Well, the things that I would put in the drive are like the government council contact list,
Yeah,
and
sure.
that kind of.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So-
and meeting documents, like, we're gonna have a meeting on this day, here's a folder that has all the meeting documents for the governing council. So that when you come to the meeting, you've already had an opportunity to look over the reports that we're getting.
Okay, they usually get sent out.
Yeah, but that's all I'm saying, is like, if, like, that would be my, that's how I would organize things,
Yeah.
and if that sounds good to the group, I'd be happy to help out. with that. Like, that's how I'll do it for myself anyway, so if that's.
So you're gonna give us access to the drive.
Yes,
Almost.
yes.
Okay.
And I'm gonna teach Will how to manage that.
In a Google Drive, is that? what you said?
It'll be, yeah, I'll just create a folder in a shared drive that will be the GC folder. What Will puts in there will be up to him, and your requests can go to Will, like, hey, I'd like to see this. Just let him know.
Cause we could use Canvas too, or any, whatever. I
We
don't know if
could.
That's, no, okay, I was just saying.
Huh?
Yeah, and yeah,
Sorry.
let's do the Google folder for now, and. All right, sorry.
Okay, there's also paperwork, remind me, you guys have to sign. Okay, director's report.
Okay, thank you. I have a short report. It just says WNMU and internet. So I did, within our lease, internet is one of the services provided. And we didn't have internet for over a month. We still don't have stable internet. I lose internet constantly. Last GC meeting, I wasn't able to live stream our meeting because of it. And so I did request from Jack Crocker, so that he knocked some of the money off for our lease. He said he would take it to his leadership team. We'll follow up with Jack on that. I also, asked him if maybe we could extend the lease one more year. I don't know that we would need that, given other meetings we've had, that I'll share that information with you. But anyway, so I have requested that. We do get reimbursement from the state. We pay essentially $15,000 a month. The state does, for us to be in this building, and that includes utilities and internet. And so without internet, it only seems fair to me that he knock off at least a few thousand for April and May. From April 13th through May 15th, we had no internet. I had no phone. I was running everything off my hotspot. We were busing kids to Silver to test. So seems like a reasonable concession.
Do we have any easy way to account for how much we spent making up for the lack of internet?
Question.
Oh.
Not an easy way, but I could probably, I mean, in ballparking it, I said at least a few thousand, maybe 5.
Now, just so we'd understand this, is this gonna be, let's say Dr. Crocker gives us that refund, so to speak, is that going to go back to the state, or is
No,
that gonna come
it
to us? Okay,
Because we pay Western directly out of our operational fund, and we get an RFR, we get that reimbursement from the state. So if we paid 10,000 instead of 15, we would still get the RFR for 15.
okay.
That's a good question. Any other issues or questions with that? So over the last couple of days and also on Thursday, Will and I have been attending some meetings around facilities, around Jose Barrios, and what that's gonna look like. So on Monday, we met with our facility master planners who are writing our facility master plan, Paul and Chris Aguilar, along with Will Hawkins, the superintendent of Silver Schools, to talk about JB and where we are in process. Mr. Hawkins has, through running a bunch of community meetings in town, he's spoken with Rotary, he's spoken with the Grant County Community Foundation, he spoke with the Chamber of Commerce. He's getting questions from community members, and apparently one was, why would you give away something worth so much? Not the building, but the land. So the land that JB sits on is about 7.5 acres, and it is very hard to for anyone in town to say how much that land would be worth. However, there are appraisers trained in situations just like that, and Mr. Hawkins has hired one to come and appraise that land. So is that awesome? No, but it doesn't mean that the deal is off or everything's ruined. Do I think he'll still give us the property for $1? I do not. But would there be a way to buy the land and not the building, but we get the building with it? The building really is a deficit more than the dirt itself at this point. We also learned some unfortunate things about the plumbing at JB. In the facility master plan for Silver Schools, PSFA, which is the Public School Facility Authority, estimated that it would be $161,000 to deal with plumbing issues there. It is significantly more. No one knows. But Mr. Hawkins described that if you flush a toilet in the 5th grade, you can feel it in the whole building. And any of us who live in the historic district are familiar with sewage issues in this area, pretty severe ones. So that was unfortunate to learn. But like anything, it is just one more challenge to overcome. So, yeah, go
I have a
ahead,
question.
questions.
Is there any possibility to rent the building?
It is possible that is one of the provisions that could happen. However, they could only get as much as we can rent anything for, which this year was 150,000. Next year will be 171. Their costs, they must maintain it at a level suitable for PSFA, which would be the massive investment in plumbing or anything else along with grounds, internet, utilities. They don't want it. They don't want it to us. It was my feeling. You agree? Other questions on facilities?
Just a small point of information. I've had a couple discussions with a town council member. Sees the closure of the schools as closing down community schools, and there's a big advocate for that, and I presented to him, you know, our reasons that we would turn it into a community school and what our purposes would be. So do you feel like that's any kind of a push against what we're, you know, Aldo Leopold ending up in JB, House and JB?
Is his feeling that Aldo is not a community school?
No, that it's more of a neighborhood school. And I said, you know, Aldo is not technically that, but it's going to be I probably should use that phrase, not that, meaning that, you know, the community surrounding the school would attend it, and it'd be that center or sort of a hub. And I said, you know, Aldo's not gonna have those strict geographical boundaries, but they're going to be a school really invested in the area. And I sort of talked about the gardens that we've worked on through YCC and the waterworks and so forth. So was that any kind of an issue for?
You know, I think that it is certainly something I've heard within the community is we don't want to get rid of these neighborhood schools, but the simple fact is they have to, right? And the district's decision to grade band instead of keep community schools is an educationally sound decision. It's really good pedagogy to grade band. And so they base that decision on good research, and that's just where we are. Yes, is that unfortunate? Has JB served as a hub for the neighborhood? Without question. But when your enrollment drops 50% over 20 years, you have no choice. You can't keep that school.
So I got one question on the land. Let's just say the land comes back at 100,000. And
Or-
let's say,
or-
let's,
so-
no, I just want to
okay.
use numbers.
No,
And somebody else wants to purchase that. So then
like a
does it go?
developer.
Oh,
maybe.
right. So then does it go to auction? Does it have to go through the state? Does it go to the highest bidder at that point?
That's a great question. I didn't ask that question, but that's what it sounded like.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, that's
If
what it
you're gonna
sounded
put a dollar amount like that on it, then you're now having to go to,
through bidders.
you're gonna
Yes.
have to go through an auction and go through bidders.
That would be my feeling.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the statute around the school districts needing to give public charter schools in the area the opportunity first. And so as long as we can lean into that, then we can maybe get ahead of the
Yeah.
competition and hopefully work something out before it goes
And
to
it's a
the highest bidder.
bad optics to sell that land to a developer when there are children without a school.
Oh,
It really is. But is it a consideration? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on facilities right now? I will say that Will and I have a scheduled meeting with Stuart Ingham, who is our so the Public Education Commission is our authorizer. Within there, we have our guy who's dedicated to us, who is not here in Silver. And he also happens to sit on the PSCOC, which is, Wayne, help me.
Public School Commission Authority or something. There's a PSFA. PSFA is Public
No,
School
I'm asking
Facility
PSCOC
and PSCOC is the board
board
that's
over PSFA.
over PSFA. So they manage that. And so everybody she's been talking to is PSFA, Public School Facility Authority, and PSCOC is the
The
board.
board over,
over
and
that.
Stuart sits on both the PEC and the PSCOC. And so we're gonna meet with him and our facility master planners and just talk about ideas and options and our facility guys, feel like everyone in Santa Fe may not be very familiar with what's going on here, and having Stuart as an advocate for us and for what we need is really important. So just sort of filling him in on where we are, what we're trying to do, what we're looking at, what our facilities plans are. also while they develop that facility master plan to incorporate his feedback.
Okay.
Okay,
And so when is JB planning on, or when is Silver Consolidated Schools going to move into their new?
everyone stays where they're at this year, though I'm not sure about sixth grade. I've heard that sixth grade will move to La Plata for the fall, but every other elementary will remain as is for 25-26. And then we're talking fast timeline. Will wants it closed and he wants someone in there immediately. One of his worries is that empty schools create all sorts of problems, and he wants, like, literally they're moving out the back door while someone else moves in the front.
Interesting.
Yeah. And Will and I have a meeting with Matt Paul on Friday morning to discuss uses of funds and what funding streams are available to us that could maybe pay for moving services. Because if we're talking something like that, we need some U-Hauls and some, like, in the past, our janitors have moved it all like in their trucks, and that's not feasible at this point. Yeah, we're beyond. And our janitors are older than they
And crankier.
here, no doubt. Okay, any other questions or comments? Will, do you have anything to add to what we've, you know?
No, that was well said.
Okay,
Roundup of our experience, my experience, your experience with the facilities situation. Tricky,
tricky,
but negotiable.
agreed.
Yeah.
I did have lunch with Mr. Hawkins and Heidi Pendleton. Mr. Corey didn't join us because he's no longer the superintendent of Cobre. He has stepped aside. I personally feel I inspired him. And so he is taking on a lighter role within the district over there, and they have an interim superintendent whose name is Mr. It's just escaped me, but he comes from TRC and Lordsburg, and I've heard really good things about him, and I met him the other day, really nice guy. So Cobre has a new superintendent, and I am hopeful that will continue meeting with the other educational leaders like I have over the past couple of years. It has been, you learn a lot, and it's just really good to have those relationships, and Mr. Hawkins has been just invaluable to me, as has Mr. Cole. And Heidi, we all work together really well. So anyway, I wanted to thank the GC members who were at graduation, Jim and Alex and Tanya. Thank you for being there. It was a great graduation. Graduation fills me with joy every time. It's like such a great culmination to see all of that hard work and misery pay off. And it was a really good graduation. And I heard you guys went to Europe after.
We did.
How awesome. How fun. Good. Well, congratulations also to the graduates. We got some good news. Allie and Maya applied for this grant, which is OST, out of school time grant. Now, it's not perfect news. We had asked for like $500,000 and they gave us 50,000.
Okay.
But it is 50,000 we did not have before to help cover trips and all of the work we do outside of regular school time. So that is great news.
Name of that?
OST grant, out of school time. PED.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a PED.
Okay.
Yeah. It's brand new this year.
Oh,
And it was
also
secret.
inspired by.
Yes, inspired by us, totally. And I didn't know about it, and then I found out about it and like had 2 days, and Allie and Maya like just pulled it off. So
That's great.
our numbers for fall are right now in the high school at 123 and in the middle school at 79, putting us at 202. We have approximately 3 or 4 spots in 7th and 8th grade. We are full in 6th. We are packed full in the high school. In 7th or 8th, we can take 1 or 2 more kids, a few, maybe 3 or 4.
And there are more lotteries happening.
Yes, there is one this Friday and there's 1 applicant for 8th grade. So that one we're counting is filled already. But we'll run 1 more, I guess, in July and see. But that's
210s are
probably-
max, so we're 8
210
away
is
from.
our school max, and
That's
our
amazing.
physical max is honestly 200. We will lose a couple kids and we don't want to be well over 200. It is not manageable in this building at this time. Yeah. So Will and I have been working together all week. Oh, I will share a picture first. Our last few days as a staff, we worked together in this. Eric Weatherby in the middle school meets every Wednesday, and we always end by putting our hands in and saying, "We rock," because that is Eric's personality. And I shared that with the high school, and they were jealous. And so then as a staff, this is how we ended our nice professional development time at the end of the year. And Fiona, of course, retired. So that was all very nice.
Looks like you're wearing all the same.
Oh, and they all have t-shirts of Fiona's dog Paddington and
That's
for
great.
them because Paddington is also retiring. He is our unofficial school mascot and everybody's gonna miss him. So yes, we were also in that. Thank you for noticing. Will and I have been transition planning and I will, in that spirit, transition over to him after I say thank you for the honor of letting me lead this school for the last 2 years. I think that I did do some really good work, and I'm really happy to be stepping into a lighter position. But I will miss it, and it's been really great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah, for
Appreciate you.
joining us.
For sure.
Appreciate you.
So Will, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, Hannah, you might be formally leaving, but your phone is there. Quite often with my questions and my authorities, trials and tribulations.
Yes, you need to debrief.
Yes, I don't have a ton to report, so I'm fully surface level yet, but I have some foreshadow for things that I hope the GC can be aware of, that are help me with and challenge me with also. Of course, the top of my list is facilities. That is a keystone ongoing project that will require a lot of investments and collaboration and more beyond that. Additionally, I'm working on my own hierarchy of gaps, needs, and concerns, as I call it, of what are the first few problems and areas that we could begin to tick off and figure out what needs improvement, what doesn't, what we can build upon, etc. I already have had some, and I will continue to have them throughout July, meetings with all of the one-on-one meetings, with all of the staff to hear the report and to work on their own growth plans and supervision, what that will look like for the coming year. And then an important thing for the GC to be aware of is, as Hannah mentioned, a review of the handbook and the policies and expectations.
Which one?
Yeah, that's true. There's so many handbooks.
I have some specifics though, or well, yes, student and staff. One of which is the cell phone policy with the new legislation. I want to add that and incorporate that into our mobile phone policy. Additionally, attendance, which seems to be one of the attendance, tardiness, etc., one of the significant gaps I've become aware of. And I want to design our own policy that is in alignment with the Attendance Success for All Act, but more clear and more rigorous than sort of, if you're unaware, the Attendance Success for All Act is a post-COVID creation that takes the responsibility from the state for truancy to the individual school's discretion. And so I want to shore that up and provide a little more structure for all of us. That'll be something we'll go, policy committee, etc. So yeah, cell phones, attendance, a behavioral matrix and progression of discipline, what that looks like. Again, more clarity and structure around if-then sort of situations so that it's not as vague as it could be. I have a small little section for pets and animals. That's come up a few times. I asked about that, and I want to get ahead of it.
As you should.
Yes, yeah. Pandora doesn't go back in the box.
No.
So you know, I want to be a little mindful about that situation. So those are some of the key policies that I hope we can revisit. I sent it all on the same spot and maybe whatever before that. And then additionally, expectations. Very invested in clarity is a common theme here, but providing expectations for teachers, students, parents, and the GC. What are the norms? What does this look like? Who is doing what? Is Alex the vice chair? Is Alex not the vice chair? Is Harry like so? providing a little more structure for that, and that I think will help me also, especially new members, who change the director. There's a lot of things that having some new expectations or revisiting expectations is very helpful. And who's doing well. One of the last things on my list is kind of related to the expectations specifically for students and parents is orientation training and the letter that was sent out to all the parents for the new director and the coming school year. So I hope that we can have, we'll meet all of the compliance required training, but then also provide trainings that I see as part of my hierarchy of gaps and needs. For example, due to something I've experienced a lot in field outdoor and experiential ed, we're out there camping with students. We're in situations that are different than traditional school models. And so professional boundaries and professionalism in those environments is very important to me. And again, part of the theme of clarity and structure and just shoring up some of these things that have continued in many ways what I see as an oral tradition or based upon the individual's judgment. And I want to make that a little bit more level for everyone. And of course, there will be room for individuals' preferences and experiences to shine. But again, making that a little bit similar. So that's a fair list of things. Does anyone have any questions on those or concerns? Please let me know. As I said in the beginning, and as my ethos for this whole thing is I want to be as collaborative and constructive as possible. So not sitting over here as if I know everything, answer everyone's questions. And I hope that you all get support and challenges appropriate for both this list and the future list of problems and things to get done.
I like the list. I think it identifies. Places we need more.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, appreciate it.
A list that starts before this list, and that's.
You should see my list. We've been going through it for days, and for the last month, I'm like, I'll put that on this list. It is.
When you cross one item off, then 2 or 3 items are added, and it's just
Yeah.
like it's exponential growth when it comes
It
to
is.
lists and tasks. Trying to stay organized will be essential.
Figuring out your system is essential.
Yes,
Yeah.
and building
Yeah.
systems where there are none. I'm a huge systems person. They go such a long way. I do not believe that leadership, you can just put a bunch of policies out there and think that's gonna solve all your problems.
Yeah.
But they do provide something to reference, and that's what I think are the behaviors, for the self-talk, these things, the attendance have been continual issues and nothing will change without laying the framework and then the specifics for actually engaging with that. So, yeah, work in progress. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Okay, new business. Oh, old business. Oh, committees.
Back that up.
I think
Just
so.
start over.
None of the committees have met. That's
Uh,
what I believe. Have any? None of them.
No, but I
Because
would
it's
just
June.
report
Yeah.
that I don't know if everybody knows the fundraiser,
Yes.
got those emails about the fundraisers collectively raised about $12,000.
Thank you, Alex, for all your hard
Yes.
work on that.
It's awesome.
Thank you. Labor of love. That's my report.
That was good. I liked
That
that.
was my committee report.
Short
And
and
the money,
positive.
did it go to the foundation or is it going directly into the school, the
Yeah.
fundraising plan?
The foundation, it's going mostly to the foundation. There were some checks that went to the school. But mostly went to the foundation, which is right now under the auspices of the community. Fund.
Yes.
Because of our-
This is not
We'll
equipped
just
with that.
move on.
But it's, the IRS said they made a mistake. Oh, you hear this?
No,
No.
I haven't heard.
Oh, okay, I have another committee report. Um, The foundation, I went to the foundation meeting and according, it was a very glitchy Zoom meeting, but according to Chris, the IRS sent them a letter saying, we made a mistake. You should not have revoked your 501c3 status.
Wow,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's great
so-
news.
that is.
So then there's there's paperwork to be filed, this kind of thing.
How we can do it.
Now we can.
Wow,
Perfect.
that's important
That's great.
news.
That is good news.
That's great news. Yeah, thank you.
Was that the particular investigative work of a member of the foundation, the parent that I met at the fundraiser? Or was that just the IRS said, hey, or
No,
did you guys have to push? to
They
get-
had, we had to
Yeah.
go back, well, we thought we were way out of compliance, so we were trying to
Yeah.
get in compliance. And in the course of getting in compliance, messages were sent, calls were made. They looked into it, said.
Yeah, thanks for taking that on.
Hey,
That is,
So the plan now is to come back.
Come
to
back
our old-
into the
Yeah.
foundation.
does that mean some recovery of money at any point, or was it?
No,
No, nothing was lost yet.
Healy Foundation will take their 7% of what we brought in. So they won't. And they do work for us, so it's.
Okay,
But as soon as all that gets rectified, we'll be back on our.
As far as committees, when do we choose and how do we say what committees right, because my understanding, right, I'm meant to be on some number of committees.
I think since we have another new member coming on, you guys, you and Harry should add that to the agenda for next time, and we'll do it during an open meeting, and you can just choose committees that you're going to do, and we can also, you all can, I will not be here, I have to stop with that. Designate vice chair.
Well, not only, like the committees that, let's say finance, there's all like 10 committees. It all depends how many people you have on the board, how many committees each board, each governing council member is at. Some of the committees are met every month, like,
All of
risk
them
management.
except audit,
and facilities.
that's true, and Shaq has been meeting for.
So when I was here, we basically had one on one of those intensive committees, like risk management and Shaq that met every month. And then somebody would do a quarterly meeting also. So they did two, and something happened this last year where at risk management, we just didn't even have anybody showing up. And to me, that is the most important committee in this school. Yes, I know finance is such a down, but we sure don't want to have somebody hurt. And,
Yeah, and I would think too, I mean, I get it that you want to have representation, GC wants to have representation on your committee, but it really helps to have a priority list of,
yeah,
just like you're saying.
Yep.
Because you don't want to burn these people in order to help.
I agree. Yep, absolutely. That's a great,
Super
so
important.
looking at the bylaws, because I can't remember what the bylaws say about
I
that.
think it says two committees.
two committees, yes,
Pretty sure.
at least.
Okay.
Or if they're, like, if we can get those committee agendas with enough time, right, and sort of.
Committees don't generally have agendas.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't, they should, but the chairing of the
Some do.
committees
Yeah.
become, some do.
Yeah, and so.
But if we could
You
ask
don't
for that, or say that this is a need, because we can't get to every meeting, and so if there's an agenda item that is of particular importance, we will make sure we will prioritize that, right? It's about, you know, attending to the most important things to keep things going smoothly, and having the energy to put your attention. Sure, I mean, I can go to every meeting, but.
I couldn't agree with you more. That was such a-
And I think agendas are a good idea.
Anyway.
Okay. Anybody else have a committee they forgot about, they wanted to report? Old business, the director's contract.
And I'm not sure, so I don't know that this needs to be here. We just need to officially, in the minutes, designate Will as the new director. That is an action item, so I think we can skip old business. That's done. Yes, he has a contract, he signed it, that is on record.
New business, okay, we heard about the bars, the salary schedule. Everybody did receive the salary schedule, Anna sent it.
And you saw it last time. Harry had issues with it, and had proposed creating a different one, however, he did not. We also used that salary schedule to create all of the contracts which have been signed. And so, to me, that's the salary schedule, but you all have to tell me it is.
So it's sort of a backwards.
That is backwards.
Okay, well, I make a motion to approve the salaries. No kidding. Okay, does anybody have any questions about it at this point?
Have you both seen it? No. Okay, let me forward it.
We're not out of compliance in any way.
No.
It's, okay.
It's just backwards, not illegal. All right, I have a hard copy of it. Here's what I'm gonna do, so I'm not pulling up my email on a recorded meeting. And you can look over it. It's many pages. And if you have questions, so the way that teachers are paid in New Mexico, so there are so there are 3 levels of teachers. There's a level 1, level 2, and level 3. A level 1 teacher is a beginning teacher. They have to stay at level 1 for 3 years before they're allowed to level up. You must level up within 5 years, and then they become a level 2 teacher. Each of those salaries begin, this is set by the state. They changed it for this year, so it goes 55, 65, 75. So first, the level 1 teacher starts at 55, a level 2 at 65, a level 3 at 75. And then they get steps. You know, every year is an increase, but you can also increase with education. So if you have a master's plus 45, you make more than someone with a BA with nothing. So just to explain that all, here is
No,
the salary schedule. And I will send it to you via email right after the meeting.
Okay, and so,
And it's all set by the state
well,
more or
that's what I'm
less.
saying, like, what is there to decide? What is there for us to decide?
So the state also passed a 4% across the board raise, which we put in. Harry's contention was that you don't need to fill the boxes on a salary schedule for people who don't exist. So let's say we have a level 2 teacher with an MA plus 45. We don't have a level 2 teacher with an MA plus 45 with 10 years, so you don't fill that box. And then when you fill that position, you could conceivably pay them something different. It was my argument that 1, that seemed a little shady, but 2, that would be an incredible amount of work to do. But Harry said he was gonna do it, but he went to Croatia.
So, so does the state then give you this
No.
document? You create this
We
document?
create it, and we do pay higher than some of the surrounding districts. We start higher,
But that's not
because
in the salary schedule.
it's in there. You'll see it.
Like the starting salary.
Starting salary is in there. And so it started from our elevated pay. So we didn't start beginning a 0-year teacher right at 55. It starts higher because we ask a whole lot more than traditional districts.
This is maybe a small detail. Do we still have level 0 teachers in New Mexico? Because I was a level 0 teacher because I was an
Transfer.
alternative licensure candidate. Do we still have that?
I don't think they do anymore.
No.
Jim.
Really?
You start they're called pre-level 1. So somebody who is non-licensed and starts out, but they still get paid as a level 1, but they don't get the experience.
Right.
So you
do
could
have
be a
weird
pre-level
one
For
that
3
doesn't-
years. And but now they've even changed that.
Oh,
So
have
even
they?
if you're a pre-level 1, you still get to use that for your experience to go
Oh,
with them. So I'm just another thing, kind of got this email the other day. They're so short on teachers in the state, they are now paying student teachers to come into our school, paying $44,000 a year to do their student teaching.
Apprenticeship.
And
Yep.
I will point out that will be, and Jackie's not a new hire, but her position will be new to her. She's been the office manager. Retention of teachers across the state is abysmal. New teachers have a shelf life of 2 years before they leave the profession forever. Most districts APS has, I don't know, 700 open positions. I don't
Yeah.
even know how many.
Yeah,
We
it's
have
in August.
no one
Okay,
leave. We had 100% teacher
That's
retention.
amazing.
So it's really worth celebrating. It
Yep.
really is.
Yeah.
So we do make decisions, because even though the state sets these minimums, we do decide that we're not gonna pay those minimums, we're gonna pay something different. So I guess what I was saying is if the state decides all this. why do
Right.
we-
No, we do
But
have
we
some,
do.
yeah.
Well, and it kind of important stuff, right? Because starting salaries are important, because, you know, exponential growth and all that.
Exactly.
Right, so.
But the growth is not that exponential. If you'll see, you can.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
3 years and it's just
Yeah,
like,
but people
I
are
got that
investing-
extra 12 cents.
Yes, but people are investing their earnings somewhere
Yes.
else, right? Like, this is money that goes into people's pockets. They get to choose what they do with, and let's hope that. Whatever. Math.
Yes,
Yes.
agreed.
Just a quick comment, and observation through our years at the schools, teachers like me who come in not having gone through the usual route to, being a student teacher, maybe coming from university, I think that they need an extra special kind of mentoring because it's a different world going from university teaching to teaching here. And I mean, I've been very impressed by the intellect, of some of the teachers, but the transition to a whole different set of norms, it's really, really difficult.
Well, and I think when you do the alternative licensure stuff, and correct me if I'm wrong, the whole bit you're missing in your school is the child development kind of, right? And so-
There's big chunks they miss.
There's-
I did a traditional teacher pathway, and so I have often felt that there are things that I just know that people who do alternative licensure do not. And so I don't know, I also did mine in Colorado and not here. I've met with Dr. Fanslow. I think her alternative licensure program is awesome. I think it's great. And there are other ones. There are state-run ones. There's one called LEAP. So there's a lot of options for alternative licensure, but I do think traditional pathway licensure, it's a deeper, meatier thing. But I don't know, you did alternative, didn't you?
I did, but I had experience as a nurse, so I had lots of human development. And I also taught for 18 years before that in a high school. But I think people come from a different kind of institution. It's really hard.
For sure, managing a classroom of teenagers.
Right.
Or preteens is.
Yeah. You can really know your subject area, maybe better than some of your colleagues, but it's.
It's very little about that in the end, I mean, subject area is important and content is important, but I mean, I've taught algebra and I did great. So it's not so much about content, it's about pedagogy.
Could I ask a question about the mentor-mentee program around that? Is there, in kind of the new or updated program, a follow-up or follow-through with like, one of the beginning level 1 teachers going through that program, then the mentor says, you have successfully completed this, we, after the year or whatever it is, see that you have these skills now and you can move forward, or the like, we need to assess this, like, what is
That's
that?
a great question. It's not set up like that, and it's a state thing, right? Like, they just tell every site, figure out your mentorship program. Everybody does something pretty similar because we all steal it from each other. And then there is no like official exit for us here. There could be, you could create that system. Right now, we only have one teacher in a mentorship situation who's still new. We tried to do it for 2 years. But bandwidth and capacity, it tends to be one. And then you're just done because nobody's there to mentor.
And so it's not seen as like a disciplinary, but a supporting.
It's a support.
What is a good point? There is no follow-up.
Yeah, yeah, and there could be like a good ending, like, let's debrief this. How can we make this program better? What could you have, benefited from that you didn't get, kind of. You add that.
I actually have.
I understand, but I didn't here, so
No, I think it's statute. Thank God.
doesn't work for me.
And it's on your list. We're gonna talk all about the teacher evaluation systems. And what we use, what we don't use, what's been happening here, what my recommendations are, and mentoring is part of the evaluation system. It's all under that same umbrella. So it's a continued conversation. Okay, back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Just realized we have an issue, we don't have any action items.
Sorry, those are all new businesses action items.
Yeah, those are all, we had a little
We
discussion
used
about
to
that.
write
before,
action
right.
next to everything.
Right.
Mary started doing that. Everything under new business, I mean,
Are we ready to tick through these items one at a time and vote on them, or?
or maybe I should have labeled that action items.
Action items.
It's-
Well,
Is there anything else to this?
idea B, I don't know what that.
Okay, so, there are a bunch of federal grants that we have to apply for, that we get money for. Idea B is for special education. Most of these federal grants, like Title I and Title II, we just write and it's fine. Part of the Idea B application says, when did your governing council approve your Idea B application? So I'm telling you what we are spending the Idea B money on. And it is, and I will also point out that special education is always unfunded, underfunded. It is a mandate that we provide certain services for students. Idea B is the way the federal government is supposed to make us whole. We got $40,000 for next year in Idea B. And, you know, we spend probably 210,000 or more. Well, definitely, if I sat and added it up, I'm not sure, but it's just a pittance. But anyway, we will be spending $20,210 on EAs. We need a one-on-one EA educational assistant for a special needs student. And then we will be spending $10,105 on speech and language, and $1100 on physical therapy. So that is the way that we're dispersing Idea B money next year, if you all approve of that in tonight's meeting.
Okay, thanks.
I'm nominating, I'm gonna nominate Erin Gerald to the governing council. Vote will be, that's not an action item, actually. The vote will be next month. That is an action item. And the two resolutions, we're gonna wait until that,
No, we have to do this now.
but I thought Harry has to sign them.
No, this is just that you all have accepted
You need both.
this. Yeah, he will have to sign it for me to take to the bank, but we also need the minutes showing that the governing council has resolved this.
Could I just make a motion that we do that?
Yeah.
Well,
Wait.
Y-
No,
No.
too soon.
no,
Okay, okay.
because I'm gonna go through them all.
Yeah.
And then we'll. Governing council input is usually before action items. And I have some governing council input. It's gonna take me a second.
Oh, okay.
That's my.
Is it all closed up out there? Do you want to just take my key?
Are students or people are asking to handle into school? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, that's, I've had a few people request poke and prod a little bit, and I have been relatively cagey in my responses around that. Mostly warrants further investigation, and that's what I want to get.
You know, Paddington was grandfathered in
Exactly.
and he has retired now,
Exactly, so
would
now
be my point.
clean slate.
Right, clean slate.
So we're not talking like classroom hamsters.
No,
No,
Right, we're talking
those
about-
are never enough.
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering.
Individual.
That's coming to school on the basis, whether they're from
No.
a teacher or from a student or whatever.
For
Okay.
instance, like there'd almost be a hierarchy of like servicing.
Yeah,
Right.
you are beautiful.
We have the, I don't know.
This is for, to gratitude for your service to our school. Just, I have no words. How appreciative, I know we all are,
We all are.
for your service and for your dedication, heart that you put into this.
But thank you.
And it's my.
Thank you.
It was a good era in Aldo history. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jim. I appreciate that. That's really sweet. They're beautiful.
Wish you all the best.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other governing council input? Okay, so we'll go to the action items.
Right.
Do I have a motion to
Yeah.
approve?
I move that we approve bars 37 through 39.
Second.
Right?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. For that, the salary schedule.
We had approved this
So, I go.
A second?
Anyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we move on to, idea B and Hannah's presentation as such. Make a motion that we approve the expenditure. Expenditures for idea B.
Second.
Favor? Okay. Any discussion?
No.
She moved.
She moved.
He seconded.
Aye.
Okay. Discussion, and there, no, okay. Aye.
Aye.
The resolution designating Jackie as our school business manager, business official, business manager,
That was the language Harry used, was school business official.
effective July 1.
Is there, sorry to, isn't that important that she's designated as business manager? Because I know, I don't know. What were Harry's reasons, I guess, would be my
He
question.
just said we need a resolution to approve Jackie as school business official. So I used his language
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
She is our school business official.
I am going to interpret that as he meant officially.
Yeah.
So
Okay. School business manager.
manager, yeah,
I think both term, I think they're interchangeable.
And you're gonna fill out the paperwork anyway and
Okay.
send it to,
Okay.
Will's gonna fill it out.
okay.
The only reason I blow on that at all is because we had Justine and Jackie,
Right,
these kind of
right.
affiliated roles and it's.
Sure, no, she is
Now we're
going to be the business manager, which is the school business official.
Okay,
So there,
I move that we designate Jackie our school business manager.
the
Effective July 1.
resolution,
Yes.
second,
Second.
how many seconds? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And finally, a resolution replacing Hannah with Will as a signer on our bank account and removing Justine Vigil.
The,
She's not here. Don't tell her. I make that motion.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Jim, just if possible, we will need the minutes as soon as possible to do the bank transaction. We
Okay.
need minutes
Okay,
To show.
All right, our next regularly scheduled meeting is July 10th, 5:30,
do we need to, do we need to hear from Erin at all?
if she'd like.
I wasn't sure if that was something.
By not being up.
You are.
You're not being, the vote on your acceptances.
Got it.
Give a month public notice
Got it.
that you've been nominated. Jennifer, would you like to say?
I guess I spoke a little bit last month. I really align with everything you had on your list, Will, like some of the things you said. I almost verbatim put in my few paragraphs of interest in what's important to me, especially expectations and following through and having concise systems. I feel like where there might be failure or flaws, there needs to be thoughtful systems in place for reflection on the systems that maybe didn't work as well, so I really appreciate that, and I'm super excited to work with you and with you guys. On that, it seems like all of you are really thoughtful in how you kind of proceed in all of this, and yeah, all those really important to me. I want to join all the committees, but I don't want to, but all of them sound so interesting, and as soon as they're brought up, yeah, that is so important. I really hope someone's focusing on that and paying attention to it. So I look forward to supporting in kind of areas that.
Thanks. Thanks, Erin.
Any comments, questions? Meeting is adjourned.
You guys are-
65th, 6:64.
Before.
I know.
5.5 minutes off.